Hi there, and welcome to episode 94 of the ADHD Adults podcast. That's the first time I've been able to do this without one of you two either stopping me
You didn't
or
hear a sniff,
irritating
did
me.
you? As you said,
No,
hi there.
I didn't. I didn't know. I don't think it was
It
a
made me
deliberate
laugh
attempt,
out loud.
though, Dennis.
That was good,
Anyway, I'm James Brown, the man who can't even think about thinking about thinking. And as usual, I'm joined by the man who's so excited to try and make shit meta jokes that he wrote this introduction that he's also weed himself twice this morning, Dr. Alex Connor. And I wish I'd never met her, Mrs ADHD. Jesus. Hi, Alex.
So a rabbi, a priest, and a nun walk into a bar, and the barman says, "This meta joke has been diverted from the original so many times it is itself the tired format." James.
Oh god.
I mean, I'm glad you said the word tired. I'm not sure if this is like the worst hello you've done. But then again, you have no
It's up
awareness of
there.
your lack of humour. Yeah, which is quite a meta thing. So it's hard to tell.
Yeah,
Sam, hi.
fair.
Hi.
Usual high energy from Sam at the start of the podcast there. Brilliant. So how are you both? Mrs ADHD first.
I'm knackered.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really tired.
You
I'm
poor
not feeling
thing.
very perky this morning.
Oh, dear. I'm sure that'll change, or maybe not.
This-
Alex.
This is the
what about you?
energy people need to hear when they sign in. I just need something to pep me. I know who I can listen to.
Not me.
I'm excellent, thank you both.
Yeah.
Something. Lots of listeners. You know, I only say that bit so I've got an excuse to read out one of their letters that I've made up anyway.
So I'm a bit worried about this because obviously normally this bit's, shit jokes, but is it going to be a shit meta joke about a dead vampire dad or something?
Yes. It's from this letter's from an Alex from Utoxeter, and it says,
Oh, God.
Dear Alex, how come you only write to James pretending to be Robert? It's okay to show him how you feel, just don't show him any of your arteries because he's a fucking Dracula. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate that. We have I love it today. We've had a real letter. Can I read it out?
I don't know
It
why you
says-
ask. Because, I mean, you didn't even give me a chance to say, no, you can't.
It says, hello, Sam, James and Alex. I know I've previously messaged. I've since listened to every episode, and as someone with a wildly similar life story, just about 15 years behind, that's a flex, being recently diagnosed as an adult in academia for much of my career, my goodness, I cannot say thank you enough for the openness and vulnerability you all are willing to show. These experiences you share are the ones that cause using the collective our here, self-esteem issues and belief that our personality is ADHD. I hope you each know what it means to have created the community you have created. From Nicole.
It's lovely.
Very lovely.
I don't think we do accept the whole thing about creating a community because of our low self-esteem.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. So I'm a bit scared about the next bit because obviously, that wasn't a meta letter, thankfully.
No, it was just lovely.
But what are you planning for a meta international thing? You sad little pathetic man.
Well, internationally, James. Well, thank you for asking. We're up to one more country today, and the country is the country is Pangaea, but it's been a while since I checked, so I might be a little bit out of date. So it's a big.
What is
Actually, no
going
one had
on?
language capability then, so Ugga Bugga or whatever to our Pangaea listeners. I'm loving this, loving it.
You're the only
What's the
person
matter?
that is.
Oh, she's very grumpy this morning, if you haven't picked that up, everybody. I'm also tired, but slightly less grumpy, which is strange. So hello, Pangaea, however many billions of years ago it was that you existed. As usual, this Aussie stand-up who does not become your best friend, even though you wait patiently in line for 30 minutes, and are funny and charming when you meet him of a podcast, is a tragedy in 3 parts, which is a theme. Last week was about ADHD and medication titration for the nation. And this week we're focusing on a topic nobody has asked about because they would need it to ask about it. And that's metacognition, or thinking about thinking. The 3 parts, as usual, include slower than normal, and that is slow, obviously. Start with Alex the Psycho, Education Monkeys, talking about some of the evidence around the topic, our personal reflections, I don't even know what the last bit's called. It's become wanking apparently, but it's meant to
Tip
involve
topics.
just the tipics, topics, spunk trumping, thrumming, thrumming, whatever.
Ooh.
So, Alex, the thrumming ding, Alex, just try and have the slightest amount of self-awareness with this.
So yourself, right? The thing is, there's two types of metacognition. So obviously it means thinking about thinking, but one of them, which we're not really talking about from an ADHD perspective today, is sort of knowing about thinking, like academically speaking, understanding what thought is, which I mean no one does. Although actually saying that, understanding what thought is, really does help with understanding ADHD. And we can do that as well as anyone, and we would recommend it from a peaceful wildness perspective, James. So if you understand how people think, it can really help us understand and work through ADHD. Although that it is hard work to do that, to learn about what thought is academically. So you might have to wait for a random hyper-focus moment. We would recommend it. Where metacognition is more relevant to ADHD itself and having ADHD is when it means thinking or reflecting on your own thoughts or knowing about our own knowing, which is a biblical ding. Metacognition encompasses various cognitive processes. So self-awareness, self-monitoring, self-regulation. So if I ask myself, for example, what am I actually good at?
Murdering.
Yeah. Or how do I solve problems?
How to murder.
What are you going to do this for all of them?
Just carry on.
What are my preferences, James?
Murdering.
How do I behave in different situations?
Quite murdery.
Not a word. And so on. And the problem is with all of those, we're a bit shit at them. That's a citation. That quote is citation pending, but we are a bit shit at them.
I don't understand any of this. I honestly don't know what's happening. I don't.
Yeah, well, it will be explained, Sam, and hopefully then in your personal reflections, you'll have provided reflections on how you struggle to think about thinking, which shows a level of preparation.
I've not even looked at the script today. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry.
Sam, how do you know what you're good at?
I don't.
Exactly. Other people do.
Do they? No.
Not what you're good at. They know what they're good at.
Oh, they think know what they're good at.
Yeah, they think about what they think about and what they think about what they like and what they do and why they did that. But like actually meaningfully rather than either thinking, oh, I'll be fine at that or I'll be shit at that.
Oh, I'm shit. Yeah.
George, do you also remember, Sam, and I don't want to jump Alex's shark here. You know how you have that massive overconfidence that you're amazing at something? Like, yeah, I can fit that cat flap, of course I can, without any previous
simultaneously,
experience.
I think I'm shit at everything.
Yeah, you're not very good at You're not good at thinking about your thought processes, your abilities, your self-efficacy, your ability to succeed in something, and that's all involved in metacognition. Sorry, Alex, I did a bit of psychoeducation.
So that's why I don't know what's going on now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Okay, carry on.
If you're not watching on YouTube, Sam, do you also feel like James looks a little bit like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the like crappy Star Wars ones, but if he was bit by a sort of Dracula Jar Jar Binks?
Oh, because he's got a hoodie on.
He looks exactly like him, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, exactly. You're just dragging this out because it's your bit, Alex. Fucking hurry up.
Excellent question, Sam. You're right.
Oh, was I supposed to say something?
So everyone has problems with metacognition. Everyone. No humans are perfect robots. Biddy. And measuring metacognition isn't easy. It's a difficult thing to do. So if someone is particularly bad at it, has deficits in metacognition, or doesn't do it very well, they're almost certainly going to be unaware of that problem. And so they're not going to tell anyone. They're going to struggle to report those issues. And metacognition operates over a whole range of different thoughts and perceptions and memories, as well as attention. So it's likely that lots of people have issues with it sometimes, but maybe not as much as James, people with ADHD.
You've done that just to ruin my fucking what about ADHD question, haven't you?
Well, certainly have, young James. Yes, inattention has been. I'm getting worse with this. Inattention has been shown to predict impairments in metacognition. So if you can't pay attention, you can't pay attention to what you're thinking about. So this points towards the importance of attention for self-awareness, for metacognition. The main way that a lack of self-awareness in ADHD has been studied is in how we report our symptoms. We've been shown to have more severe cognitive impairment on self-reports than what was found using objective performance tests. So we can think we are worse than we are. We literally cannot easily pay attention to how we pay attention. This is important because compromised metacognitive functioning of adults with ADHD suggests that clinicians may not want to rely on patients' self-reports in the clinical assessment, but they do at the moment. Another study agreed that adults with ADHD seem to overestimate their symptoms compared with a doctor's perspectives, but the patients may also accurately rate their functional impairment or the impact it has on their lives, suggesting that sometimes we may be unaware of a connection between the symptoms we have and the problems that they cause or the impairments they cause. Interestingly, and actually in direct opposition to what I've just said in my in my stupid Uttoxeter accent, children, as if I still have that, children with ADHD often have what's called a positive illusory bias. And that is an overly positive evaluation of our competence, out of line with our actual competence. And it's likely that this also occurs in adults with ADHD.
That is Mrs ADHD in a nutshell.
I think I'm both, though. I think I underestimate and overestimate.
It
I've
depends
literally
on the
got no
task.
idea what's going on with anybody else or myself.
The odd thing that you do, Samantha, is you underestimate your ability to do things that you have a proven ability to do, and you overestimate your ability to do things you've never done before in your life.
I think that's why, because I've never done it before, I think, of course, I'll be able to do that. Whereas if I've done it before, I know I'm shit already.
Unless you haven't been and you just don't acknowledge that. That is what we're talking about. That is it in a nutshell today. Right. That is it.
Why does it matter, though? Why does any of this matter?
Because if you've got to fill in your forms when you're being titrated and you're not accurately reporting your symptoms because you can't think about thinking, or if you're filling in your forms when you're going for a diagnosis and you don't accurately put them down because you can't think about when you pay attention, it's really important.
Well, if you're in a work and your boss says, "Okay, let's work on your strengths so we can really define your career in a way that's going to be healthy for you," and you go, "Oh, well, I'm really good at copy editing and paying attention," because and then you're like sad for 15 years at Warwick University as an assistant professor, for example.
Okay,
just pluck that
I'll
out.
try and remember that.
Yeah, just I know it wasn't 15 years. Joke's on me. A recent study showed that adults with ADHD show impairments in metacognition in attentional functions, where we tend to overestimate our abilities, but we may have intact metacognition abilities in other areas of thinking. So it does seem to be very much about this attention part. The deficit, Sam, remember, doesn't mean lack of to science world where no one lives.
Impairment.
Exactly. So too much or too little, exactly how you just described it, is a deficit right there.
I'm actually really glad. Don't want to give you praise, obviously, but there were fewer meta jokes in the actual psychoeducation than I expected, and I'm really grateful for that, and I'm sure our listeners are. So it's time for a break, and we'll see you in part 2, where I think in the break Sam's going to try and write down some personal reflections. Now she knows what metacognition is. See you in a bit.
I doubt it.
Lightly.
Alex, hi.
Aight. What's up? Hello, Governor.
Welcome back to episode 94, for the love of God, of the ADHD Adults podcast, where we are talking about metacognition, whatever that means. As always, part 2, yada, yada, yada. We do personal reflections on metacognition. Looking forward to hearing Mrs ADHD's on this one. I'm going to come to you, James, so I can really bury the lead. What about you?
So we had a conversation in the break about whether I'd written my reflections or whether Alex had written them. And I said, no, I've written them. And now I've looked at them. I didn't. He wrote them. So my personal reflections on metacognition are apparently I'm really shit at it. For someone so clever, I'm really terrible at this. It's like I don't even have the part of my brain that can do this. I don't really have attention problems, which I did say. And that's all written by Alex, but it's correct, I suppose, because I literally did say to Alex 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe, I don't think I've got the inattentive side. Actually, I don't have issues with attention. I just think I'm hyperactive and impulsive. And obviously, every time I do one of my little, the little talks I'm doing,
your
little
little
talks.
Yeah.
Every time I do one of those talks and I look at the symptoms, I think, yep, they're all me. But I said to you, I don't have problems with attention, which is a complete lack of awareness of the massive problems I have with attention and the impact they have in my life. So I really struggle at this. The positive illusory bias of kind of overconfidence in doing things, I do have in some areas. But I equally, on areas where I think objectively I am probably good, I just absolutely would never agree that I'm good at them. Some academic areas, some areas around management and kind of stuff where you've said that you chaired that meeting brilliant. I'm like, well, not really. I thought it was shit. Or you answered that question great. Your input in that meeting was great. And I'm like, I just said stuff. I didn't really think about it. I've got no idea sometimes if what I'm doing is good or bad. I just do it and kind of see the result afterwards. So this is something
That's true, actually. Oh, sorry.
No, carry on, mate. Carry on.
No, but that's true because you've done talks before and come off stage and said, I don't think that went very well. And I said, it went really well. Like everybody was clapping and cheering and laughing. And you're going, were they?
15 years of working with him, Sam. 15 years of everyone going, oh, isn't he brilliant? He's like, oh.
Yeah, so I'd never really thought about this. We talk about it in the little talks, and we talk about it in when we write articles and that. But I just genuinely thought, yeah, that doesn't apply to me. I'm dead ace at thinking about how I am good at stuff and bad at stuff, etc. But clearly, I have almost no ability to actually think about how I think, my thought processes, my abilities, etc. Sam, what about you? Now you understand so much about the subject.
I do understand it now, and I understand that it is obviously an issue for me. I do think I'm shit at everything, but if I see that somebody needs something, for example, I will volunteer to do everything because I think I can. So if it involves somebody else, I won't necessarily do it for myself, but if it involves somebody else, so for example, I remember having a client when I was hairdressing, and she didn't have anybody. She needed somebody to do her hair for her wedding. I'd never really done hair up, but I was like, I can absolutely do that. And then she needed somebody to do her and her bridesmaid's makeup. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And she needed a photographer. So I was like, I'll be the official wedding photographer as well. And then went to Scotland. I literally sickness and diarrhea for a week beforehand because I was so scared. And then I just managed to get through the whole day somehow, but I kept throwing up. I had diarrhea. And then as soon as I'd finished, we got to like the reception when I should have been able to relax because I'd done all my jobs. And I just had to go up to bed because I was just so drained because the whole day I'd been like pretending that I can do all these things and was just terrified all the time. And then I just collapsed, and I do that all the time.
What was their feedback, Sam, on what you did for them?
Oh yeah, they were really happy.
Amazing.
Yeah, but I do that all the time. I'm like, yeah, I can absolutely do that, and I just overcommit and make people believe that I'm really good at something, and then I start panicking because I think I've made them believe I'm really good at this, and I'm actually really shit at it, and then it has a massive drain on me.
And that's separate from kind of people pleasing. You're not doing these things because you just, I don't want them to think that I'm rubbish. You do them because you genuinely think, yeah, I can do that, and I can do that well, don't you?
I think, yeah, at the time, I think, yeah, I can absolutely, and for me, it's if I've got time. So, for example, I've agreed to give a talk in June, and I was like, yeah, I can absolutely do that because there's loads of time. And I know as the time approaches, I'm going to be like, what the fuck? I can't do this. Why have I agreed to this? And it's as the time approaches, I realise that.
I mean, just on the subject of talks. So about a month before the live podcast event, when we were at one of my little talks, I just said to Sam, you've not spoken in front of like 400 people, have you? And she went, no. And I said, well, do you want to practice, one of the talks, do you want to just do a couple of minutes of it? And she went, no, I'll be fine. You'll be fine standing up in front. Yeah, you'll be fine standing up in front of 400 people. The first time you've done, yeah, I'll be fine. And then obviously for the week before, and particularly the day before, oh my God, the stress. And then, of course, she was fucking fine, annoyingly. She was brilliant.
She was on stage, but beforehand, we actually said, you won't be fine because your anxiety will be so bad that it'll be horrific and it'll ameliorate it a bit. No, none of that's true. You're very stupid people. You've ruined my Thursday extra observations here, James, with your little input. Then. So I'm going to have to think of something else.
What?
I was going to talk about that exact thing you said on Thursday.
Yeah. Remember we do a Thursday episode, Sam, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
or
Alex,
Friday, depending on whether James is too sad.
Or you don't show up.
Or I don't show up, yeah.
Anyway, Alex, what about your personal reflections? And don't be meta.
Oh, okay, I won't. I will tell people, though, that James and I have a side channel on WhatsApp where we give each other ammunition when we do something really embarrassing. You can't hide it. You've got to admit it because we're terrible humans.
I think you said this last week, didn't you?
Yeah, probably. No, I didn't tell people about
just say it every week then.
You were so James and Sam have been filmed for a documentary, and I'm like a non-speaking extra on it. And they phoned me up to make sure I was just gonna not get in the way, I guess. And oh yeah, we'll film you a bit. And I said, because it's for a German documentary, I said, oh, would you like me to speak some German on it? And she just went, no, thanks. And all the pain was embarrassing. I was going to say, in the spirit of that ammunition, James, I was going to say, I don't think I have positive illusory bias. And then I thought, hang on, of course you don't, do you? Because you think that you're good at everything, you idiot. Yeah, no, I do. So I can't trust my brain. That's the problem. I don't trust my emotions. Sometimes in an argument where I'm thinking, I am furious with you, I go, oh, Alex, remember how it always is? And I have to go, excuse me, I don't trust what I'm saying at all. Can we just take a pause on this? Because I might be insane right now. And I don't know. I just don't know. It feels right, but I've been burned so many times before that I've started to go, I can't do this argument. I cannot do it because I might be in the wrong. I don't think I am. I mean, I usually am. And I do over and underestimate my abilities wildly. It's completely. I'm terrible at it. I think I'm horrible at everything. Or yeah, that'll be fine. And then the impulsivity of saying yes, like you, Sam, with the wedding story. Thinking you can do it in the moment and then impulsively going, I'll do it, rather than taking a step back and thinking, what is that something I want to do now?
I did that time and time again as well when I was hairdressing.
Oh,
like I volunteered to do that more than one time, having known that I was shit. Then somebody else was like, I don't know who's going to do my hair and makeup for the wedding. I will.
I'll do it because I've hated it in the past. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why I was an academic for 20 years.
Because I misremembered it and thought I was fine last time.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
those are mine, James.
Yeah. Still, it's a superpower, isn't it?
I just wanted to
It's
say,
absolute.
is this related to, like, I don't know how I feel a lot of the time.
Alexithymia.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't describe how I'm feeling because I don't know.
I don't know if you heard that. I just said alexithymia and Alexa told me the time. Amazing.
Brilliant.
I don't know how to feel about that, James. Oh, I've done a meta joke.
That's not something that we all have then.
No. Well, I mean, so if you look at most cognitive processes, Sam, they vary. Remember, we are all neurodiverse, so there will be some people who are almost entirely alexithymic or have almost no metacognition, and there will be people who are absolutely correct about their thought processes and their abilities, and can describe in fine detail almost all of the time how they feel. It's that like spectrum.
And people without ADHD at all who are terrible at it as well.
Yeah.
It's just when you look at the percentages, we're on average worse than the average from in rabbit ears, James, normal population.
And why is that?
Because it's a higher order thinking. It's a higher order thing where ADHD people tend to struggle in the outside bits of the brain. It's part of, again, dogs don't do it, do they? They don't go, why, Stephen? Why do you want that sausage?
They might do. You've never spoken to a dog. You can't just absolutely say that no dogs think that.
I've spoken to a dog many times.
I'm sorry, but you can say, both of you, that all dogs are boys and all cats are girls.
Yes, same as all doctors are men and all nurses are women.
In German, the German for nurse includes the word woman.
Really?
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
It's a wonderful country with
cleaner.
no history of oppression, isn't it?
Cleaner.
Cleaner. Wow.
Oxford, yeah. Cleaner woman.
Anyway,
Tidy woman.
before the break, we've got time for a game, Alex, haven't we?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't today.
No,
Actually,
we have. I believe.
Yes, because I like it. I love it. Probably. See what I'm doing.
Yeah. I believe you're 7-6 down, something like that. We'll go with that anyway. So, since we've been doing collectively these little talks and events, etc., I've obviously lost a lot of stuff. And what I've realized is I probably leave one thing at every hotel or venue, and collectively that means I've lost several things. So the game this week is to work out what it is that I've lost since, or the number of, and what it is I've lost since starting this. So your first option is, have I lost 7 pairs of glasses since starting the tour of talks, little talks? Yeah. Option 2 is, have I lost my 3rd smart tablet stylus, or the smart pencil you use to work a tablet? He's very quiet, so I don't know if he's ready for the third one.
Down.
Yeah, I know, but normally he'll go, oh, interesting. Or have I lost 5 iPhone charger cables since starting this tour?
Okay, right then. It's definitely not 7 pairs of glasses, because since you were bitten by a Dracula Roz from Monsters Inc., you've been wearing her glasses holders. I think we can all agree on that. I don't think it's iPhone chargers, because you lost 5 in a week once. So I think it's 3rd smartphone stylus. Look at your smug little face.
Bastard.
Look at you happy. Oh, I've got it right.
No, you've got it. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So I've got my remarkable device with me here, which was bought as part of Access to Work, and I can't fucking use it because I lost the original one. So I bought a replacement, which I lost, and then I bought another replacement, which I have now lost in the last week.
As if you've only lost 5 iPhone chargers in your life.
No, not my life. This is since December. Yes, since December.
I wasn't paying attention. I wouldn't, because it's the superpower.
I've lost like 3 pairs of glasses, and I've lost 2 iPhone charging cables. So I've lost some, but it's just the numbers. But you got it fucking right. It's 7 all. I'm really annoyed. And on that note, yep, we'll take a break, and we'll be back in part 3 for whatever it is now. Something to do with masturbating, obviously. See you then.
Boom.
Bye.
No.
Trumpet. Right, top tipics. Sam, do you want to bring us back in?
Okay. Welcome back to episode 94 of the ADHD Adults podcast, where we're talking about ADHD and metacognition. In this part, we'll be talking about giving you our top tips on metacognition. Yep. James, what are your top tips?
That was almost. I do like the fact that we're going to be talking about giving our top tips and not giving our top tips, because that's meta in itself.
It's okay, meta. Thanks, James.
It is.
You're joining in finally.
Oh shit. So the first thing I'd say is ask others. There are going to be people around you that will be more aware of your behaviors and abilities than you are. And sometimes, because of our low self-esteem, we can't accept that. So when Alex does say, for example, no, actually your input in that meeting was brilliant, obviously I don't believe him, A, because it's Alex, and B, because it's praise, and my low self-esteem will not accept praise, sir. But sometimes asking others, particularly when it comes to those forms, the diagnostic forms, ask others to help you. Ask them, how do I do this very often or quite often? Because if you're that's quite a subtle difference to some people. Very often, quite often. It's a bigger difference than often and sometimes. And very often and quite often are the more severe end of the ASRS, the symptom report scale. So if you're just saying often and not very often, when actually it's very often for everything, it's going to possibly reduce your ability to accurately report your symptoms. So ask other people, the person that you live with, your friends, your workmates, your parents, psychopath who lives in Germany, whatever it is. You've got around you as a resource to tell you more objectively what your behaviors and traits are like. Equally, try and take an average sometimes, because I almost guarantee if you fill in your symptom form on a Monday and then do that again on a Thursday, you'll have a different score. So sometimes if you want to work it out, whether it's through titration or whether it's before you go to the doctor, do it each day of the week. Don't look again when the next day, fill in a new form, and then compare them and make an average, because it might be that on different days you're just not as able to think about your behaviors and your symptoms. Also, write stuff down, particularly when it comes to your abilities and that positive illusory bias or negative kind of reporting on our abilities, because there will be things that you can do that you're shit hot at. And often when we have those negative thoughts and low self-esteem, knowing that you can bring up a positive list of, actually, I am good at these things. There is evidence because I've done these things before and they were successful, that can help us with some of the low self-esteem. And the final tip is, don't ever watch a Christopher Nolan film. I mean, they're amazing, but Jesus Christ, they're meta about being meta. So it's really difficult. Anyway,
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Christopher Nolan is?
Honestly, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Never heard of him.
Inception? Interstellar?
Why are you shouting words at me?
Tenet? Batman Begins?
Banana?
Memento?
Flippity-doo. What are we doing?
Oh my God. I saw they weren't obviously.
Was Memento the one about the tattooed man? Or Mint?
Yes. Mint.
That was the oldest one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw that one. It was with the Neighbours man. The man
guy,
from Neighbours.
Pierce. Yeah. Okay.
Who was it?
Jesus Christ. Sam, any top tips for metacognition?
I mean, I'm obviously really shit at this. I've just been thinking, and there are things that I do, but they don't work well for me. So the whole tracker thing, I try and write down how I'm feeling so that I can, when I was filling in my forms for titration and stuff, I could write it down, but then I forget to look at it and I forget to fill it in. And sometimes when I know what I'm feeling, which is rare, I write it down. But then I've just realized that I do that and then immediately forget that I've written it down, because sometimes I think I know exactly how I feel now. I need to write this down, and I'll write it all down. And then I don't know. Sometimes I don't trust what I've written down either. So I haven't got any top tips really. I'm really, really shit at this. And but everything that James said, I think asking other people and writing things down is good if you remember to write things down, and if you remember to check that you wrote things down, and if you trust what you wrote down was good, then you're better than me. Alex?
I have a beautiful book of jobs where I put little tasks that I can achieve, right now, not a to-do list for the future, because I won't fucking do it. But it's a nice book, and I also write down thoughts in a nice book as well, feelings like that. So I will like it again, as long as I don't have to do anything with it. I can just read it. As long as there's no obligation, I can handle those, and that's what I do.
One of those books is beautiful and one's nice. So is one more nice?
Yeah, it's
nicer
really,
than the
really.
other?
The beautiful book of jobs is really, really lovely. I'll picture
Amazing.
it.
No.
I'd say so. A couple of little things. One is that it's a learned skill as well. So obviously we have a central ability, like running the 100 meters. James is always your example. But if we train, we can get a bit better at it. But it's never going to be easy if you're already a bit shit at it. Like I think the three of us are. One thing I do is I write down a few questions rather than feelings that'll help me. And just like the basis of James's favorite Kipling poem, 6 Honest Serving Men, I use those open, non-directive questions: why, where, who, how, when, and ask myself those questions, like, who said this to me? How do I feel about that person and their honesty? Where was I? Where was I felt? Where did I feel successful? What happened? What happened that was good in that moment? I ask myself those questions on the daily, really, just to make sure that I can trust my feelings. And something and this physically hurts me to say, something I've learned recently from Sam is that just knowing that what someone else is good at, who might have self-esteem issues, who might not have the metacognition, it's still not really okay to tell them without permission. I was trying to tell Sam something I felt about how good she was in the podcast, and the reflection came back. Do you remember, Sam, of like, well, you kind of didn't ask, and you've got an image of yourself, and I'm just changing that without asking and without checking. It's not actually a comfortable thing for anyone to hear. And I realized I feel like that too. If someone says, you did this, and I feel I'm shit at it, I think they're lying. I'm not ready to hear that. Yeah. So the reason for all that bollocks was ask people what would be a good way to share a thought about them, a positive thought about them, rather than just jumping in like an idiot, like I did with that positive thought.
But I do that all the time too.
We do, impulsive, isn't it?
Impulsivity.
Yeah. Indeed, they're mine.
Brilliant. This is Alex's last obviously meta thing in the script. Product recommendation of the week: Dummy's Guide to Freudian Psychology. Not a great gift for Mother's Day, that though.
Oh God.
We need to work on the product recommendation because
really
we obviously
on the keyboard then.
we tend to record these things
So
last
happy.
minute. You may have picked that up, and this is always the bit that no one ever really focuses on. Anyway, thank fuck, that was episode 94 of the ADHD Adults podcast, where we talked about metacognition and ADHD. If by a miracle you enjoyed any of this, why not support the charity on the link provided? Because otherwise, Alex will use his massive round head to write the scripts more often. Just think about that for a second. That will be terrible. It is. As usual, contact us on the socials at the ADHD Adults, not me on Twitter, because obviously I'm still locked out of my account, and I've doubled down on that by getting a new phone and not backing up Microsoft Authenticator. So I don't think I can ever get that little blue tick Twitter account back again. Also, contact us on Discord. We will see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye all.
Trigger warning, klaxon. Klaxon, klaxon, klaxon.